All right, now we're gonna check out part 2 of getting kicked out of Satan Con friends.
Part 2.
Yeah.
So did he revisit, or is this just, footage we didn't see?
I have no idea.
That's the God we serve.
Guys, today we're at day 2 of Satan Con, and we have a lot more Jesus people out here today. I like the vibes. It's looking good. It's not as cold, so we're going to ask people questions, maybe change some lives. Make sure you guys support me on locals for just $8 a month. I love you guys. Let's get 100,000 subscribers. Let's get straight into the video. So what's your basic views of God?
This guy's a satanic YouTuber.
You recognize him?
Yeah, he calls himself atheist, but atheism is basically Satanism,
Yeah.
closet Satanism, or more or less, it's close to being Satanism. But yeah, I remember in a stream, George, a guy from our Discord,
Yeah, I remember.
he had contact with this guy. I think his name is Aaron Raw or something.
Okay.
So
Sounds
George
familiar.
contacted him when I was live streaming, and said I wanted to do a debate with him on Flat Earth, and he got the link to my live stream, and he backed out.
Really?
Yeah, he backed out.
Why?
Because he said, "Oh, this guy doesn't seem to know what he's talking about, so I don't want to do it," or some shit like that.
Well, then it should have been easy then for him.
Yeah, I said that. Then I'm like, what are you waiting for?
But
It's
why did
easy.
George have contact with him?
I don't know. George watches this guy.
Okay.
But so now I've written to him to see if he wants to do a debate with God and Satan debate.
Okay. So you're an atheist? Yeah. Not agnostic?
I try to be agnostic, but eventually there's a point where there's no fairies in the garden.
Okay.
I know that God exists. I know that God does not exist.
You know how stupid that is.
Did you hear?
Huh?
First he said, "I know that God exists," and then
I
he
know.
changed his mind.
But you know how stupid it is to say that God doesn't exist. How the fuck do you know that? Knowing is when you been, let's say you died and you've been to the other side, and then you saw, okay, there is no God. I know,
Yeah.
That's when you say, I know. Stupid.
In the same way, to the same degree, and for the same reasons that I know that leprechauns don't exist.
And what's your evidence against Jesus?
I don't need evidence for or against Jesus. I'm perfectly happy to say that there was probably a first-century faith healer and scammer doing exorcist games, the same way we have scammers doing the same shtick here now. So people have been lying to people for a long time. Yeah.
What are your basic views of God?
I don't have any. There's no evidence of God.
Why do they all look so bad? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
These people, they look like sewers people.
Yeah, but
living in the sewers.
Yeah. God is beauty, but Satan is,
Ugliness.
wicked.
Yeah.
So are you atheist or agnostic?
Satan can deceive with some kind of beauty, but it's not the kind of beauty that
Yeah,
God
he can
is.
put on a mask. Yeah.
Atheist and agnostic.
Well, you can't be both, because atheists would say there's no God. Agnostics would say, I don't know if there's a God or not.
No, atheists say there's no reason to believe in God.
No, atheists would say there is no God.
No.
You just don't know what basic definitions are.
Maybe I do.
What's your basic views of
What
God?
the fuck is that?
Hail Satan.
So you're demonic.
Yes.
Okay. So you
Yes, he's honest.
Yeah.
do admit that God exists. You just praise the devil.
I have a legion in me.
Do what?
I have a legion in me.
Okay, so you admit God exists.
Bunch of demons inside of him.
No. I admit
You can't praise the devil and then say that Jesus doesn't exist.
I admit that Satan is the devil.
Okay,
I mean,
so
I
that
admit
means
Satan is
Okay,
God.
good.
Say-
That's a step.
No, he said Satan. Then he said Satan is God.
I admit that Satan is the devil.
okay,
I mean,
so
I
that
admit
means
Satan is God.
Satan. Okay, so you can't believe in Satan.
So then you believe in God, because he said Satan is God.
Satan if you don't believe in God.
What?
You can't believe in Satan if you don't believe in God.
Okay.
So you just admitted God is real.
Okay.
When it comes to politics, what side do you think supports you more?
The left.
What side supports me? Well, I would have to say, I don't know that there are sides. We seem to have a conservative, right, semi-fascistic group, and the
Oh, really? Really?
But
It was.
semi.
Yeah, it's not the left that wants to force shit on everybody. It's not the left that wanted to force inoculations on everybody. It wasn't the left, right?
everybody else. So we have a disproportionate weight. The people who are against me, my enemies, the people who want to take away my rights, are the conservative right.
Ah, really? So the people who are against morbid shit, you know, twisted, sick shit.
And also for free speech.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you just want
And the right to defend yourself.
Yeah, you just want to do some crazy, sick shit. And anybody that is against crazy, sick shit, they're tyrants.
Yep.
Against me, my enemies, the people who want to take away my rights, are the conservative right.
So you would say liberals support you more?
The liberals do, and the leftists do, and
So why didn't you say that in the beginning?
Yeah.
You only said it when he said it, you know?
many moderates do as well. So there's everybody but
Basically, you have the majority supporting you then.
the
The
conservative right.
leftists, the liberals.
Well, they're not the majority. They're
No,
just
but you know, the...
made to seem that way.
I
Because
didn't mean the majority in people. I meant like
The group.
he said only the conservatives are against him, but the groups, lefties, conservatives, and he said something more.
The moderates.
The moderates.
conservative right is just about taking your rights away. That's it.
So have you ever considered Jesus maybe to be real?
I was Christian Catholic. I also was baptized in a Southern Baptist church when I was 11. So I've heard about Jesus before. And
And what made you
I heard about him.
Yeah.
Sounds like a nice guy.
leave the church?
there's just no reason to believe.
Eternal life. Eternal life is a huge reason to believe.
Like, if I wanted to believe, buy a lottery ticket that I was going to hit $1 million, it's not going to make it any
But it's not a lottery ticket, it's just a decision. It's just a decision. All you have to do is accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, and you can have eternal life with God. It's not a lottery ticket. Do what?
Heaven is a story.
Heaven is real.
It's a story.
Do you have any proof against it?
How do you have any proof for it?
There's plenty of evidence that supports Jesus, yes. Like the resurrection, there's evidence of the resurrection.
Were you there?
Yeah. Were you there for George Washington?
Yeah, but that's recorded history.
This is recorded history as well.
You have a question for me. I'm going to answer loudly. What's up?
All right, so what's your basic views on God?
My basic views on God is you can believe whatever you got because there is not one God. There is many gods. I am a God in the world, and God did not make man to...
You see what I'm saying with people thinking there are many gods? They're not even understanding
Yeah.
what it's supposed to be about. Like one almighty above anything else. There is only one spot. There is no 10 spots.
No.
Different gods.
There is many gods. I am a God in the world, and God did not make man to his ally. Man made God like him. I don't know how to explain it because I don't read the Bible.
And last question for you. I was looking inside, I was watching videos from inside yesterday, and they were saying hell, Satan, and burning a Bible. Or not burning, but ripping apart the Bible. So to me, that's pretty demonic.
Yeah, it works,
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
it is.
it is. Absolutely. Yes, it is.
doesn't it?
And now they're
So you would agree that you got...
So why are they burning the Bible if they don't believe it's real? Then they could just take any book, you know, a fiction book, a storybook. Do you get it?
Yeah.
So in some way they actually value the Bible. Otherwise they wouldn't rip it apart. It has some symbolic value for them.
Yeah.
Otherwise they could
It's
just
their
take
enemies.
like a little Red Hood or something that is just a story that doesn't have any, you know, following value of that sort.
Yeah, it's because they want to, you know, target their enemies, which is,
Which
Christian.
means that it has, you know, some part of their life.
yeah.
You guys are kind of demonic and do praise the devil.
There's no such thing as demons. There's
Really?
there's no such thing as supernatural.
Well, why...
Oh, really? Look around you, idiot. Everything we got today is fucking supernatural in terms of technology and shit. What the fuck? It's crazy technology.
Are you helling something that doesn't exist then?
Because, as I said in my speech last year, the last year of SatanCon, I was one of the speakers. And I said,
You weren't good enough for them to bring you back? Do you deny that Jesus existed?
I don't know if he existed, but if he did, he didn't walk on water, or he didn't die on the cross for everybody's sins and raise again. That's scientifically impossible.
Well, that's why it's God.
Scientifically impossible. Dude, you believe in the Big Bang.
Though, like God is not us. God is an all-powerful God. God can do
The
anything.
thing is that, these people are probably vaccinated. You think?
Yeah, but it's not weird when you think about it. Because if the theories that are out there that is saying that inside of the jab, there is a thing called Lucifer
Yeah,
Ace.
I know.
So if that's true, which it seems to be true, there is a substance called Lucifer Ace. Then it's not that weird anymore to know that, yeah, they took Lucifer's Ace inside of their veins. You know what I mean?
Mm.
That is what they did.
Mm.
And I believe even lefties who maybe don't see themselves as Satanists, they are already Satanists.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Their whole behavior and all of that shit is already Satanists. Doesn't matter that they haven't, put themselves in a group yet. So of course they also go and take Lucifer's injection. You know what I mean? It makes sense. You know what I mean? It makes sense.
But still,
it really does.
Yeah, but I see these people like, the old left, the rebellions. We're not gonna do as the government says,
And that's not it.
Something changed.
Yeah.
Weird.
Well, you could say probably what happens is Satan came and inverted it.
As he does with everything else.
Yeah, that's what Satan does. Inverts everything.
See, that's too convenient an explanation.
So how do you think?
Explain anything.
So how do you think the world began?
I grew up in the Catholic Church.
The Earth or the universe?
The Earth.
Okay. The Earth is a result of processes from the formation of our sun.
Transformation of
Draw.
what?
From the
Greetings, the one God thing is the Christian theory. Technology is developed by man, and it's meant to be HIV genes that is in the gender bender precursors.
And it's meant to be the HIV genes that is the gender bend.
In the jab probably. Is talking about.
Okay, sorry.
No, I wouldn't agree that technology is developed. It is maybe, manufactured by humans, but technology itself, whatever it is you're creating, is made by God. Like the possibility of whatever device that you're building is made by God. Yes, you might be the one building it, putting it together. Sure. But the technology itself, anything really.
The way how it functions.
Yeah, anything that is possible is made by God. I say it, I'm a composer. I make music, but it's not me who makes the music. The music is already made by God. I just discovered the patterns. The same goes with technology. You discover how to create the technology.
But
put this and this and this and that. Huh? What?
No, but I also think that absolutely you're right with the technology, and I think that today the people are so distracted by things that we don't see and don't want to see the supernatural thing that actually is here. That is also, not only technology. I think there's a lot of supernatural things going on, but we're not looking for it.
Yeah,
we're looking for the wrong things.
You remember that video? I don't know if it's real though, but I showed you on Twitter. I might pull it up later on. That guy who had a tone generator device and he hooked it up with.
But it makes a lot of sense. But I think that vibration and sound has such more importance and functions than we think, than we believe.
Yeah, but he had a tone generator hooked up to a computer, and he's put in a certain frequency, and that fucking thing started. He had it on his bed, and that thing started to open a portal.
Draw.
And shit.
So why did they not have the same things 2,000 years ago?
I think they had
Who knows what
better
they had?
technology, not this kind.
Who knows what they had?
We don't
Have
know.
you heard that they made there's people saying that they do resets on society every now and then, I don't know when, to just start over or shit like that, you know? Like they do resets.
The formation.
One thing is certain though. This satanic shit is real. Lefties are satanic. And that's about it.
Of our sun.
Our son?
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
He delivered me, he saved
When the
me,
sun,
and he can save you too if you humble
when the sun
yourself
was
a bit.
formed,
If you humble
the-
yourself
Who created
a bit.
the sun?
I know I've done wrong.
an explosion from a supernova.
A supernova explosion created it. Okay, but who created the supernova explosion?
It just created itself
Yeah.
from
Nearby supernova.
Okay, and who created the
Supernova sounds nice to say. Supernova.
supernova?
Me, and he'll wash you and make you new.
Nobody created it.
Someone has to be
Nobody created
a
it.
creator. You can't get something out of nothing. That is scientifically impossible. Okay, so can you tell me, how do you believe the world began?
How did the world begin? What kind of world? What do you mean? Do you mean the planet?
How did we begin? How did we get here?
Why do you make your voice like that? How do we begin? We are the evolution of stars. You are made of the same materials of stardust. The stardust is composed
I remember
primarily
that. I
of-
remember then when that became a thing. We're all stars. We're all made of stardust. You are a star. I'm a star. That 15 years ago or so, 20 years ago maybe. I remember that.
So, is he gonna say Big Bang?
Iron, magnesium, oxygen, hydrogen, and carbon, and so are you made of the same exact atoms. So we are the stars. We are the stars living and talking to ourselves. We are the transformation of the universe. We are the universe talking to themselves.
Come on,
Who
somebody.
created the creator?
The creator's been, he's been a thing forever.
Scientifically.
Exactly. The creator has always been there.
Yesterday, today, and forever.
There is
Draw.
no time.
Vince is glass, solid of fluid. We are mainly carbon.
Whatever that is.
You said something has to create something, right?
Yes, it's a supernatural being.
There is a hell. There is a judgment day coming, my friends. We're all going to
Needed to
die
think
one
there,
day.
right?
Yeah, there is something greater than everything out there, and it's not, limited to time. Like, if you think about it this way, if you believe in a God, that there is an almighty creator outside of everything, do you think a thing such as time can affect it? You know what I mean? Like, if you're the almightiest of all, that means you're almighty over everything, including time.
Yeah.
Time can't affect you. You're above everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Very soon.
But you can't show me
80 years
this,
from now, a lot
and
of
you
us are
can't
not
show
gonna be
anybody
alive.
it.
Most
It's just,
of us
it's a
are not
lot
gonna be
more
alive.
crazy to say that nothing created
But my
something
friends,
than it
we
is
have
to
to
say that a supernatural
look at
being
that,
is our God.
That magic man that defies all logic and reason and science.
You do realize, though, you're the one that's saying nothing created something. That's a lot more foolish of a
It
statement.
was already
Yeah.
there.
Who am I going
Who put it there? You can't answer the question because the only answer is God.
No.
Okay, so who created the stars then?
The Big Bang, which
Big bang.
There you go. Did you hear that drop? This absolute fool believes in Big Bang. You see you see the correlation here?
You say I live outside your reality, so does that make me God?
No, you don't live outside my reality. We're all living in the same reality, man. You know what I mean? These people believe in the bullshit Big Bang. Do you see the correlation? Do you see the connection here? Do you see the connection? You see? Put two and two together, Who is responsible for this fairy tale for adults? Satan, of course. Of course. Satan is responsible for your belief in the ball. Is that nice? Is that nice, Drop?
maybe is proven to be longer than it was 14 billion years ago thanks to the James Webb telescope that is orbiting the air and the galaxy, which has shown us that we have seen stars further away than 14,000.
God was invented by man to control man.
Listen, I'm just gonna say this. After this, we're gonna watch
Well, after this, we're gonna watch a short interview with Satan's satanic church leaders, Anton Lavey, and then, yes.
Yeah, and fuck, man, you interrupt me all the time, and that we'll talk about gods and
Yeah,
God.
you have something you want to show.
Never mind.
1,000 years old, which is 14 billion years old, and what we can see is that we come from an explosion in black matter.
So who created the Big Bang then?
Who created the Big Bang? I don't know. You ask your God, you racist fuck.
So racist
What?
fuck.
Did he call him racist?
Big Bang then.
Who created the Big Bang? I don't know. You ask your God, you racist fuck.
Draw.
So
Satan Santa was also invented to control man.
A cent I can definitely buy. The state that the Western world has created him
Dude,
now.
what do you mean control? You're free to do whatever you want, but there's consequences for that,
Yeah, but in general, a lot of religions do control people. They use the power of God to control people. Of
Sure,
course,
but I'm
in
saying
every religion.
I'm saying the true
Draw.
God is not
Yeah.
for control.
Enslave.
Yeah, in
I
slave.
agree that anything that becomes like a cult is bad. I don't care if it's Christianity or whatever it is. Anything that is like a cult becomes bad. But I don't see God responsible for that. You know what I mean? I see humans responsible for that. You know why? Because humans tend to create.
Yeah, it's not
cults.
God's fault.
Yeah, humans tend to create cults. No matter what it is. I mean, I do music reactions, and there's a big fucking cults in that shit too. Like, oh, we love these songs, we love this band, whatever. That's humans. That's not God. I don't think God has anything to do with that shit. At all.
Human rights! Human rights! What's up?
So you do admit that there's not an answer.
There is an answer.
What is it?
We got the closest to it. The Big Bang. The Big Bang, baby.
Who created the Big Bang?
Awesome.
You can't answer it.
It's exploded. It's exploded.
These people are the representatives of Big Bang.
Started the explosion.
There's an explosion of matter. Okay, this guy is asking questions to the Big Bang. So I'm glad that you're
You can't answer the question.
I'm not talking to you anymore. Get away
You know
from me.
you have no point. You have no point.
Get away from me, you're exposing
Draw.
me.
Does it not say in the religious books, you should worship God only?
In the Bible, and I believe in the Quran also say there's one God only. You should not worship any other God than me.
Should and must is not the same.
Can say must also. I'm not gonna swear it said should. Can say must. No, I think it say should in the 10 Commandments. You should not have any other God than me.
Should,
No,
but
you shall not have.
yeah, but that's still saying this is what you should do. But hey, you go ahead, believe in this shit. You go ahead, but there's consequences. I'm the God here. Yeah, but you don't want this?
Draw.
Okay.
Dictating.
No, listen. God wouldn't have given you free will if God was a dictator. You know what I mean?
He has no point, so he walks away because he knows he has no point. He has no point, so he walks away. He chants, he has no point.
Let me ask you, Drop. Are you an atheist? You used to be an atheist, right?
I would say agnostic then.
Oh, you never was an atheist.
No.
I was an atheist.
No, I
really bad.
I was never an atheist.
It's really bad. It's not a good thing to be because you're such a loose person in that state, because you don't think anything really, really ultimately matters. So easy to go the wrong path that way.
Don't click off just yet, guys. I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching the video. If you've watched it all the way through
Give
this
him a
far,
like,
you
yes.
obviously have to be a huge supporter of mine, so thank you so much.
Draw.
Please consider subscribing.
No, that was
subscribing
invented
me
to
on
push the
Local
God
for just
thing.
$8 a month.
I'm a
It's
human.
literally the price.
Okay, wait, hold on. So you think all of this got created by the Big Bang, right? But it's either God or the Big Bang. Or do you have your own theory? Huh? What did everything come from?
Price of a Happy Meal. It helps me go from place to place. I'm 100% independently self-funded. So your support on there for just $8 a month would mean the world. So yeah, I love you guys. God bless you guys. Share the message. Don't forget to pray. And yeah, enjoy some bloopers. This is Bob Minery. This is the man, the myth, the legend.
I guess so. Yeah. All right. So what's going on? Why are there Satan conventions at the place?
Okay, this is the largest satanic gathering in U.S.
Draw.
history.
At the Marriott?
Yes.
I'm still trying to figure out how we got here.
But you have.
You are a bit agnostic.
You have to been thinking. Okay, it doesn't
Draw.
make sense.
But it was not from a god.
Okay, what was it from then? Why not? Let me ask you this instead. What is it that makes you so like there is no God? What is it? Let me see if I can help you with that shit. You know what I mean?
You better not be.
That's terrible. That's awful.
Hey, God bless you, man. Nice meeting you. Nice meeting you.
Getting back to God and turning back to God and reclaiming.
You like killing your lungs?
From the dominion that Adam lost.
So I remember we were driving in your cars.
You better put that part on.
No, I'm putting that in there. Satan Con, how's Satan Con, guys?
He has double masks. Did you see that? 2 black masks, almost
Satan
covering
God.
his whole fucking face, man.
How's Satan Con?
It bothers me
Draw.
so much.
Then that would make your god the first maker.
The first maker. But
Yeah,
I
there
think
is only one God. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I
There's
think
only
we-
one God, man.
we compare our time to God's time, because we have a beginning and end. When we have the clock
Draw.
and the seasons, we see it
Tran.
like God has to have an ending and a beginning. But I don't think we can understand what eternity means, really.
Yeah, because we live under limited time. God has set a certain time frame for us. That's all we know.
Yeah. So we cannot imagine eternal life.
You know what I think? I even think that's unnatural, if I can say that. Like, I think God's time, if you want to say, is the true time, which is no limits to. You know what I mean? It's just endless time. And God has made this fake-ass thing with a time frame for us.
Yeah.
I don't think this is the natural state of time. Just think time is endless, really.
Come on, guys.
But yeah, I wanted to say, this fucking mask thing, I'm so
No, I'm putting that in
irritated
there. Satan Con.
that it has become normalized.
Draw.
Like,
And the Bible also says we used to live to over 350 year.
Yeah, I know. Longer, even 900 years, some people.
who knows?
And
Maybe
I
we
don't
did.
think that is so far off. I think that's possible. Absolutely. I think people did before. Not now. I think they did.
Listen, I'm not 100% sold on everything in religion. I just
No,
know,
neither am I.
I just know there is a God.
I know there's a God, and I'm
I don't-
asking questions.
Yeah. And if God, let's say, punishes me for, like, yeah, you believed in me, but you didn't
Draw.
believe in the religion.
That was based on seasons, not years.
You believed
Well,
in me, but you didn't believe in my religion, so therefore you go to hell, then, yeah, I guess I'm going there. You know what I mean? Anyways, what I was saying is that the mask. I don't like that. That shit is normal. That you can just be a fucking
Draw.
bad person.
And some say years were months.
Yeah, I know.
That you can be some kind of a weird ass person, a criminal, or whatever, and you can just put on that fucking mask and it's okay. You know what I mean? That shit used to be for robbers. You know what I mean? A robber used to be looking like that. Now, it's okay to look like a robber.
Yeah. Now it's okay to
In
cover your
society.
face. That was illegal before.
Yeah, in society, they've normalized this shit because of a bullshit thing that didn't even exist, man. The fuck, man.
How's Satan Con, guys?
We'll never have. No.
Driving in your car, speed so fast, I felt like I was drunk. City lights lay out the floor, and so
You suck.
Is she with him or with somebody else?
I don't know.
Okay, now we're going to check out the creator of Satanic Church, Anton Lavey, met his doom. Proof Satan cares for no one. But the following is a true account of the last moments of Anton Lavey's life, born April 11th, 1930. Anton Lavey was the American founder and high priest of the first Church of Satan, as well as an occultist. He was also the author of the Satanic Bible and the founder of Laveyan Satanism, philosophers who advocated materialism and individualism.
Where have we heard that before?
Yeah, that's where we are today. Materialism and individualism. He died on October 29th, 1997.
It's a little bit off subject, but the same kind of principle. I heard that, and I won't mention his name, but it was a big leader and founder of a huge satanic organization. And he was on his deathbed, and for a Satanist at the time of death, it's a great victory for them, because death is a huge thing that they celebrate. And he was getting ready to die and pass on his powers and that. And on his deathbed, he must have got some revelation or an angelic appearance or something, and he went into shock and he said, "Oh my. Oh my, what have I done?" He said, "There's something very wrong."
They made going into banks illegal a long time ago, but I had my account closed for not putting a mask on.
Ah, really?
What? They made going into banks illegal a long time ago? You mean with a mouth diaper? But I had my account closed for not having
Good, strong.
Yeah, but
of
it's
you.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Don't you see what he's saying?
Strong of you.
You couldn't go in like that before. You know,
No,
in a
you
bank.
couldn't
Draw.
cover your face in the bank.
Yep.
But now
Yeah.
you have to go into the bank with like a bank robber.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they will close your account.
Yeah, right?
You see? You see what this is? Drop. This is the satanic inversion. That's what this is, man. It's inverted, man. I don't care if you don't believe in God or what. There is an inversion happening. Truth is becoming the lie, lie becoming the truth. Man is becoming the woman, woman becoming the man. You know, banks not letting robbers in, and now you have to be a robber, on the outside, appearance in order to come into the bank. That's inversion, man. Straight up inversion. You know? You can't deny that.
Draw.
Can't deny.
Agenda
it.
2138.
Yeah, Agenda Satanic, it's called. Agenda Satanic 1. But wait, this guy, Anton Lavey, on his deathbed, regretted.
Angelic appearance or something, and he went into shock and he said, "Oh my. Oh my, what have I done?" He said, "There's something very wrong. There's something very wrong. There's something very wrong."
Wow.
And his whole life had been spent propagating these satanic beliefs, getting everyone to believe, establishing official organizations for Satanism. And then at the end of his life, he gets this light that comes to him.
I wonder what that is. You can only speculate, but I would speculate maybe what something is told to him telepathically, like you just sold your soul to the devil.
Yeah.
You're going down. He's like, "Oh my," or some shit. I don't know. Like you just fucked yourself over. Not in those words, but something that tells him you got duped, and then he's like, "Oh my." What is this? The Joe Peen television show. 1967 interview with audience participation of Anton Lavey, founder of the Church of Satan, from the film Can, the founder of High Priest Church of Satan in San Francisco. He recently performed the first satanic marriage ceremony with a nude woman lying on the altar as a symbol of lust and indulgence.
Some time ago, the wire services and newspapers carried a story out of San Francisco describing the first satanic wedding ceremony ever performed. The pictures showed a nude woman lying on the altar behind the guest, whom you see now, the Reverend Anton Zandor Lavey, who is the founder and high priest of the First Church of Satan. Anton Zandor Lavey uses as somewhat of a credo this timeless quote: "Remember, evil backwards spells live."
You see the inversions?
Yeah.
Somehow that never occurred to me.
It never occurred to me until one of my disciples brought it forth, and I imagine it's quite true with many of us.
Is it true?
How often do you have to shave your head to make it shiny like a devil?
I have to put Vaseline on it as well to keep it shiny. I shave it once a day. Can I give a plug?
Is that
for
the odor you're giving off now, Vaseline?
No,
Could have fooled me.
That's musk.
That's musk.
That's the goatee scent you smell.
For sure it's not frankincense and myrrh. I know that. Now, what is this ring you're wearing here? Looks like it's weighing your hand down.
Well, no, it's a magical ring.
It is?
I have little children rub it, make a wish, and it comes true.
Little children rub it. Okay. Nice.
What is that? What is that stone? You know, back in the days, I would be like, what? This is ridiculous. What is that? But now, that probably does something. That fucking...
Children come near you?
Of course.
Draw.
Of course.
Pedo.
Amongst a bunch of other stuff. You know what I mean?
Little children
What
and
kind
animals.
of a wish did that ring ever make come true?
Well, I would say a great many wishes, but we won't go into them.
Why not?
Ah, okay.
Why not?
Creed.
Why can't
Get
we
the
go
creed.
into
You call yourself a satanic priest.
Yes.
Is that the opposite of God?
No, because Satan is a god too.
Is a God, but then he believes in God. Then he says there's two gods.
Yeah, but they can't be.
No, but according to him.
Yeah.
Well, what are you then, the dirty pope or what?
Oh, I guess you could call me that if you want to say the black pope or the dirty pope or the advocate of,
Pluto.
for example, the kingdom.
I didn't know that.
Other names for Satan: Dragon, Barbarit, Lucifer, Balaam, Genie, Saturn, Vice.
Fenrir is not a word for Satan. I just need to defend that. I can get that you say it can be some kind of demonic, but Fenrir is a God's son that is a wolf in Asgard. So it's not the devil.
Okay. Beast,
Just wanna say
Oyama,
that.
Set, Accuser, Demon, Belial, Satanas.
Allah and God. I don't know. I cannot buy that. No, other names for Satan.
Well, how do you know? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is from the... What is this? Anyways.
Vampire is not a name for
Devil,
Satan.
monster,
Evil.
God.
Maybe. Yeah, I said Allah and God.
Of night or darkness. No one's ever come forth so far and spoken up for the devil. Everybody that's made rules and regulations concerning the devil or the devil's work, the devil's activities, have been people who have been very righteous people.
Satan was God's boyfriend, and the bitches had a tip, that's why they split.
People during crusades, people...
Well, I'm not too righteous, but on the other hand, I think you're a bit of a dingaling. Let's face it, either that or you're selling...
You still haven't said why you don't believe in God. Drop.
Some kind of a snake oil. You got very shifty little eyes, right? It's very close together, too. They tell a story about you.
Oh, well, yes, of course.
What is the story that you'd like to tell us?
The story is that I think that the devil has been the guy that's kept the church in business for many, many years. Without him and the concept of evil, where would the church be?
Well, where would Notre Dame be if they couldn't play Southern
Draw.
Methodist? They gotta have opposite.
Because I live in the real world.
Because
No, you don't, man. What do you mean real? This is a simulation. It's not even real.
Is that the
That's
point you
right.
make?
Draw.
I have to have...
Not fantasy.
Oh, yes, you are. This is a simulation, and that's, you could say that's fantasy.
So you're supplying what?
It's all ones and zeros.
A loyal opposition?
Pixels, man.
Well, I'm supplying a much-needed opposition. The word Satan only means adversary, as I said. It's not...
You never use the word devil?
Devils, of course. Devils are God. The original concept of the word devil is taken from a word meaning God.
But this name, Anton Zandor Lavey, that's got to be a put-on. That can't be.
No, it's certainly not. When I was a young boy, I was quite embarrassed about what the S stood for
Draw.
in my middle.
I wish it was a simulation.
But it is. Wish granted. Wish granted.
It is a simulation, dude. Have you ever tried a VR headset?
Name. Because
Zandor.
Anybody with a
S-Z-A-N-D-O-R, right?
Right.
Now, what does that name mean? Does it have any meaning?
Well, it's a very common name in the Balkan countries of Europe, Romania, Hungary. It's just like George or Frank would be here.
Now, what country do you come from? Transylvania or what?
Well, not really. My family, part of my family is from Transylvania.
Draw.
Is it necessary?
Thanks. Where is the restart button?
Well,
in your head.
That will happen when it's time for the restart. Maybe when you die, maybe you come back.
Necessary to kill you by
Or
driving
you
a stake
enter a
through your
different
heart,
game.
or with just a knock on the head do it?
I will never die.
You won't?
No, of course not. I've made arrangements.
How do you like that? A frozen devil, right? Huh?
That's a good point.
You're going to be frozen.
Now that's a great thing, I think. Incidentally, this freezing, because I think we all want to live forever. I think basically none of us want to die. We're like little children that are put to bed before we really want to go to bed. And if I hate to sound like Goldwater, but in our hearts, none of us really want to die. We all know that death is something. You don't know how many people are going to come to your funeral. You don't know what your wives, your husbands are going to be doing afterwards. People don't want to die because they don't want to miss anything afterwards. And they're afraid for what they're going to be missing.
So, are you saying then that you're going to make arrangements to have yourself frozen?
If it's at all possible. If it's not, I'll make other arrangements.
But, yeah, you're afraid of what you're going to miss, blah, blah, blah. But you're going to see some other shit. You know what I mean?
And afraid of what you're going to miss, that's only the ego speaking.
Yeah. And frankly, I don't know if I care about seeing what I'm gonna miss in this world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's going so crazy. It's just gonna be a nasty, deranged, sexually disgusting world.
Of course, what do you mean other arrangements?
All kinds of weird shit's gonna happen. We wanna see that. I mean, maybe George Carlin, because I believe he said that 1 year before he died. He's like, I'm just a spectator watching this shit.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not gonna see a lot of it, but I'm enjoying what I'm seeing. And like,
right.
He's like, because we're fucked.
Yeah.
He's like, the human race is so fucked.
Well,
let's take the freezing first now. I could just picture this now. About 10 days after you're frozen, some minister's going to tiptoe over and turn off your electricity.
Or bring a blowtorch in.
Yeah. Well, a blowtorch would be make you right at home. What are the other arrangements?
Well, there's another thing. You see, the concept of the devil is a multitude of interpretations. Now, one of the realms of hell, Tartarus,
Concept.
the lowest of all, is supposed to be a very frigid place, like a gigantic.
What do you say? Perception, right? Is your perception. What is a conception?
Right?
Refrigerator. This is where Lucifer lives. And there's nothing hot at all about it. On the other hand, the lake of fire that's described in the Bible was described to Eskimos by Christian missionaries at one time, and they, not having enough heat, all wanted to know, how do we get there? And this is why it never has really done too well up there.
Well, look, Dev, you don't mind if I call you Dev.
Dev, call me anything you want, as long as it's not obscene.
Were you ever a religious fellow?
I would say not particularly.
You're a young man.
I'm a religious fellow now, though.
How old are you?
I'm 36.
36. Who ordained you a satanic priest?
I would say probably I received the call. Just as any fundamentalist...
Well, most of us do, but we fight it.
Well, I fight it. This is, of course, the whole principle of my religion, is all of the concepts...
What do you mean you received the call? You mean one day the devil said, go out, Anton Zandor Lavey, and give people hell? Huh? Is that what happened?
That's about it. That's about it. Because people like to have a hell of a time, don't they?
Well, of course, there are all kinds of definitions of that.
Well, now...
Now, I don't, to marry two people without a license in front of a naked babe lying up on an altar, I don't know what that is.
Well, seriously, there are explanations for these things. And how I started was as a result of various reverse forms of therapy. I haven't been a satanic priest all my life, as you probably gathered.
You've probably been an inmate part of your life.
Well, an inmate in possibly a pretty big institution.
Is that where you picked up that yo-yo that hangs around your
That's
thigh?
not a yo-yo. That's the equivalent of a crucifix.
A crucifix? You mean that's your version?
This is not my version. This has been around for a long, long time. It's just a magical symbol symbolizing the inversion or the opposition or the adversary of the concept that is normally supplied.
Are you going to hook up with any paganistic societies?
Draw.
I don't know.
Conception is the invention, perception is how you perceive it.
Concept. I don't know. I'm just...
Paganism is just a euphemism for Satanism. People want to get out and run around in the woods without any clothes and all this sort of thing. I don't feel this is necessary.
Well, you felt it was necessary to make that girl take her clothing off for that wedding.
The girl without clothing...
How did you talk her into that? She must be a nut.
Well, of course, she's not. In fact, I might say that most of the people that are in my group are professional people. They're business people. They're people that are from very responsible walks of life.
I heard that marriage is not even legal.
Well, it might not be, but as far as I'm concerned, it is, because unless they had a piece of paper that said that their blood types were all right and that the...
That was it. It had no blood test.
That's right. But if they had gone to take this blood test, if they had spent $2 on this particular little piece of paper...
Or you could just say con.
Yeah, I just want to know why the sept is coming after. Concept.
That said a civil ceremony was in order, therefore a religious ceremony could be performed, then of course this would be just as legal. I would have married them, incidentally, if they had come to me with that piece of paper. This was requested of me as a religious ceremony.
But you don't have the authority under law to perform a marriage.
Any minister has the authority under law, under the laws of the Constitution.
But you ordained yourself.
Well, where would I go to a theological seminary that would teach Satanism?
We'll be back with the man from down under, and I don't mean Australia, after these words.
You should time travel to 2023 and visit SatanCon.
I understand that, what are you doing?
I'm giving a blessing to the audience.
I don't think they appreciate it. They were throwing it back.
Well, they thought it was a curse.
Maybe it was.
Would you like me to show them how the sign of the curse works?
Sign of the
completely
curse?
different.
How does it go?
No, not at you people out there in the audience, but this is the difference.
Aim it toward Red China, would you?
This is the sign of the horns, a curse sign, the two fingers extended. This way, spread apart for sort of shotgun blast, you know.
I always
all over.
figured if I ever met the devil, he'd have dirty fingernails. Go on.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
Where?
Dirty fingernails.
Well, that's because I've been fooling around with your equipment.
Never mind. Don't blame it on the studio. Go on with it.
All right.
So that's the sign of the horn, and then what happens? Is that it?
Well, there are other ones, too.
Yeah, what are the other ones?
The other one's, one of them's the pox sign. That's 3 fingers extended.
A pox on you?
A pox on you. During the Middle Ages, this was used. But
You're
originally...
a bad cat.
Well, you have to be bad to be good, don't you?
Is it true that you teach people how to make voodoo dolls and stick pins in them to hurt people?
That's right. I believe that hate is necessary in a controlled way just as much as love is necessary.
But could it really work?
Of course it works. It's been working in primitive
Voodoo,
societies.
I think, is a scary thing because, I don't know, I think that works. I think there is real voodoo.
Yeah, I used to make fun of that shit when I was younger. Like, what the fuck is this? Take a doll and do this. What the fuck will that do? You know what I mean?
No, voodoo is something that scares me.
But do they have to do? Do they have to do something with the doll? Like attach something that is personal?
I guess, yeah.
Is that why you could see in series or movies or whatever?
They usually take the hair or
they
something.
take something from the person and then they do that shit.
A long, long time.
Well, then how come you don't pick out the despots of the world and make dolls like that and stick pins in them so that you want them to win. You want the bad guys to win, right?
Well, I don't say they're necessarily the bad guys or the good guys. It's not up to me because the only people that I would cast a curse or a spell on would be people individually that would sort of get under my skin.
Why are you staring at me like that?
Because after all, hate should be a personalized thing.
Do you hate a lot?
No, not really. I am a pretty flexible person.
The newspaper said you used to play a calliope in a circus.
I played a calliope. I was a wild animal trainer.
You live with a lion at home, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Now, is that just a publicity
No,
story?
he sleeps with me every night in the bedroom.
Who?
How much does he weigh? Now, is that just a publicity
No,
story?
wild animal trainer.
You live with a lion at home, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Now, is that just a publicity
No,
story?
he sleeps with me every night in the bedroom.
How much does he weigh?
500 pounds.
Has he been defanged and declawed?
No. Yes,
Have you?
He's got full power. No, not yet.
Are you at all afraid that someday, after you get through this big put-on, you know, with your little red yo-yo and your big fat ring and your shiny bald head, that when they do pack you away,
Well, now, wait a
if
minute.
there's any justice, you know, you've got to really get it.
Justice?
You've got
Draw.
to really get it, baby.
They have to make you believe in Voodoo first, to make you fear it. Just like the fear of God, Satan, ghosts, and so on.
They have to make you believe in voodoo first.
Yeah, but I think I'm a believer in voodoo.
Draw. That's believe.
Dude, you still haven't said why you don't think there is a creator, man. What do you think this is? Where do you think everything came from, man?
Isn't justice sort of a lie most of the time? Isn't the law just
maybe,
tricks,
yeah,
really?
But you see, we're dealing with men, and men make mistakes, but there's somebody made all of us.
Well, they made the laws, too.
Somebody made this world, and
That's drop. That's us. We're trying to say, hey, somebody made this reality. Drop's like, no.
make mistakes, but there's somebody made all of us.
Well, they made the laws, too.
Somebody made this world, and someday, if he could get his hands on a
Draw.
cat like you,
I live in the real world.
you could be like horrible examples.
That's not an answer. What kind of an answer is that? That's not an answer. I live in the real world. What does that mean? You don't even know what the fuck this place is. That's just some sound. I live in the real world. That's just sound, man.
Well, number one.
You mean like...
Do you ever think about it?
You mean
like
JC?
Yes.
Well...
Draw.
What happens if somebody...
I don't do
Exactly.
fantasy.
The world is a fantasy.
Yeah.
What do you think this is? What do you think this place is?
holds a crucifix up in front of you? Do you...
What you think
Draw.
is...
I'm a boring old fart.
No.
No?
No, you're not.
But you should be thinking a little bit more about this because your answers are like,
Take it back a bit.
this is real, that's fantasy.
Full example number one.
You mean like...
Do you ever think about it?
You mean like JC?
Yes.
Well...
What happens if somebody holds a crucifix up in front of you? Do you know?
Ah, okay. Is that why Jay-Z is calling himself Jay-Z? Hold on, what is Jay-Z's real name? Jay-Z real name. Sean Courtney Carter. Sean Corey Carter. That's why his name is Jay-Z. Hold on, let's take that back.
Example number one.
You mean like...
Do you ever think about it?
You mean like JC?
JC, but Jay-Z.
Yeah.
You know? That motherfucker is going around calling himself Jesus Christ.
Yes.
Well...
What happens if somebody holds a crucifix
And he is a true Satanist, this guy, Jay-Z.
up in front of you? Do you melt
Oh,
away?
I don't do this, you know, shrink back and hold my cape up. No, it doesn't bother me because I have no axe to grind with Christianity. I feel that if Christians are good Christians, they want to be Christians, fine, if it's working for them. Same with any other religion. The only thing that I would preach would be that people that aren't successfully enjoying their lives as much as they should might sort of flip the coin over and see what's on the other side.
You want people to just go full bore, full tilt into sin.
No, not full bore, full tilt, because if
now,
they
wait
do...
a minute. Now, wait a minute.
Well,
Let
now
me close
these,
on this
of course,
newspaper thing here.
newspapers are
What
notorious
now?
for this.
Come on. It says right here, let me see if I can find this part here, where they couldn't wait to go out and commit the 7 deadly sins. I don't see it here, but I remember reading it.
Isn't
right?
that what people get married for, usually?
To commit the 7 deadly sins?
It gives them a piece of paper that says it's all right?
To
Especially
commit
the first...
the 7 deadly sins?
Sure. Think about it, really.
Clear your
what
head.
what are the? Do you know what the 7 deadly sins are?
Well, there's pride.
Sloth, pride. That's
Sloth.
right. The girl gets married because then she can go around to all her friends and say, "Well, I landed him," sort of crow about it.
No girl in her right mind would say that you performed the ceremony.
Well, all right. There's a sloth. That's laziness. Doesn't the couple usually go on a honeymoon? They want to lay around after they've committed one of the other sins?
I believe the term is lie around. On the beach or something like that.
I know it's lie around, but I was using another
I see.
All right, we won't go into semantics about this.
Good, we won't.
And gluttony, don't we all like to eat until we're full? If we didn't, wouldn't there be no need for diets?
No, I don't think so. I don't think people always eat until they're full, or we would all look like balloons.
Well, then, of course,
do
pride
now.
would step in, wouldn't it? And take care of that so that we'd thin ourselves down? We'd be sinning then.
Would it be pride or would it be self-denial?
Self-denial is a sin, I feel, but it's not considered a sin.
Are you planning on training a lot of little devils?
Only those that wish to become little devils.
Are you married?
Oh, yes.
You know the trick, what he's doing here, and some of it, what he's saying is true, you know, but basically what he's saying here is, no matter what you do, you're a Satanist. That is what he's saying. If you look through, like deep down in what he's saying.
Yeah, but I would say that this world is it's built, how you say, there is so much satanic things here, like the comfort we have, the food we have, everything is based basically on the 7 sins.
Yeah,
The
I
addiction
agree.
on everything. So as I said before, we talked about this, to live a complete sinless life in this world.
Quite impossible.
Yes, it is. I would say.
Like even a car. What does a car do? It makes you, very convenient. Like it conveniently travels you instead of you actually walking. And you could say that's a little bit going to the lazy side.
Yeah, of course it is.
You know what I mean? No, I don't want to walk. I'll take a car. Yeah. Like pretty much everything, as you say, is well. Then you could say maybe the society has turned satanic straight up.
Yeah, because the
from
devil,
the core.
Even in the Bible, it says that the devil is the ruler of the earth right now, of the people. It says.
Yeah, but back in the days where you had to actually work for your food and work for this, work for that, walk and all that shit, that would be more closer to God.
Yeah, absolutely,
kind
of
a
course.
Society.
You would create more as the creator.
Yeah.
Do you have any little devils?
Oh, yes, I have 2.
Are you going to raise them as satanic kids?
Certainly, but not to go around chopping people up or sacrificing human beings, just to...
That would be the greatest reward of all if your kid some night would creep in and set fire to you and your lion.
Well, no.
Huh?
No.
And then dance around with pitchfork and say, look at Daddy, look at Daddy. Huh? Now, if you sleep with your lion, where does Mrs. Devil sleep?
Oh, she sleeps with the lion, too, you see. Not between us, though. The lion's on one side.
Makes for
Draw.
a nice grouping.
I don't like...
A car gets you from A to B quicker, but most sad people think it is status.
Yeah, of course, pride. So the car is also laziness and pride.
I don't believe in separating church and state.
There are some people in the dock who would like to speak to you. We'll be going to the dock and the devil after these words. State your name, sir.
Yes, my name is Jim Jelsma.
Did you drop in for some devil's food cake, or what's on your mind?
No, we're... first of all, how do I address you?
Well, you can call me Mr. Reverend Anton by my first name, whatever.
Well, I'll state the Mr. to begin with. First of all, I'll say one thing. You have a lot of followers, and you're right.
Followers.
Oh, yes.
You're right about the devil being a god, because the Bible clearly states that the devil is the god of this world, and he's also the prince of the power of the air. So I don't dispute you on this matter at all. My only question...
Are we picking up a new
What
recruit
did he say?
here?
Go back, I want to say.
You're right about the devil being a god, because the Bible clearly states that the devil is the god of this world, and he's also the prince of the power of the air.
Prince of the power of the air. Fresh Prince of Bel Air. What is Bel?
Beelzebub, maybe?
Ah.
So I don't dispute you on this matter at all. My only
Are we
question...
picking up a new recruit here?
My only question is this question basically about death. Personally, I don't think it's a funny matter, whether you're really sincere in what you believe or whether you are just doing this to gain followers. I mean, it's a pretty serious thing. First of all, everyone dies physically, but you're right. Again, everyone does not die spiritually. And I'd just like to ask you, what do you think is the concept of God? What is your concept of God? What does God do?
He looks a little bit like...
Is he, in other words, we visualize God as being the ruler of everything that is good and proper. In other words, his attributes are love and his almightiness, omnipotence, omnipresence, and so forth. And of course, we recognize that God has given to this world many wonderful things. Just look at all as far as paintings and the literature that's inspired by God, the tremendous things that you see in all over the world that God has inspired through literature and music and art. What has the devil given to this world along the lines of what we consider as good and proper and just?
Yeah, what have you done lately?
Well, certainly you're right. The concept of God has given the world much beautiful music, many beautiful works of art, and certainly I feel God exists, but the name for God, of course, is different for many different people, and I feel that God is that force, whatever God one chooses to pray to or to command. In the case of Satanism, rather than pray, I feel whatever God exists should be the God that carries a person along, that carries them through, that makes them a better person, that makes them live a better life, and naturally a more pleasant life. So, and I feel that you have to be kind to yourself, indulgent to yourself, before you know what it's like to be kind to others.
True. Now, you brought up one thing about pride. Now, do you think this is a bad thing?
No, I think pride is a very good thing. Of
You have to understand, he likes sin, you see.
These things are all euphemisms for, and I feel, rules that are ensured to be broken by the church.
Listen, when your wife crawls over that line to say good morning to you, does she refer to you as Beelzebub, or how does she address you?
Depends on what mood she happens to be in.
Is she also a satanic type?
Oh, yes.
She approves of all of this?
Certainly. She wouldn't be around if she didn't.
And how do you make your living?
As a counselor, sorcerer, practicing wizard, shaman, warlock, whatever you wish to call it.
You're also a male witch, a warlock?
Well, a male witch is considered a warlock.
You claim to be a witch, then?
A male witch? Certainly, but not a white witch, not like some of these people that have been on various shows that bend over backwards trying to convince everyone how good they are. They never perform black magic, only white magic. I think this is ridiculous.
Could you make that man disappear out of the dock?
Out of the dock? Yeah. Why should I want to?
Well, because we have somebody else coming up.
Of course I can't make him disappear, because I am naturally cast in the mold of a human being, and I think this is...
Want to bet?
It might be...
less human and more Mephistophelian to me.
Thank you, sir.
I call him a devil, he's complimented. Would you state your name, please?
Andy Tennyson, and I think you asked him what I wanted to know. How do you make your living?
I make my living as any other minister does, by the people that come to my congregations, my lecture groups. I do lecture on various occult subjects. It isn't all Satanism. I lecture on voodoo, West Indian magic, African magic, Norse magic, and also try to help people with various problems, enlighten them on these concepts of magic, folklore, and offbeat religions. This is how I got involved in this as a religion.
Does it pay well?
It pays the bills.
Looks like a pretty cheap suit you're wearing.
It's not even a suit.
Now, come to think of it, the jacket doesn't match the trousers.
It's pretty much the same as yours.
I doubt it. I never knew they put cuffs on burlap bags before.
No, this isn't...
You're wearing boots, too, aren't you?
That's right. These are the same kind of boots that motorcycle cops
Did you come
wear.
here on a motorcycle?
This makes me a sadist, too.
Huh? Are you a sadist also?
Oh, yes.
Are you also a masochist?
Well, a little bit. Well, maybe that's why I'm here.
Any other questions?
Well, I would like to know if this actually substantiates your house, your expenses. You have 2 children. How can you live on the people that support you? They must have to give you an awful lot of money.
Not really, because after all, if a person is conducting themselves in any kind of business, it doesn't have to mean that they're taking $100 or $200 or $500 from each person. My fees are very, I feel, reasonable for my private
Can you
consultations.
picture his kids filling out a form for school? What does your father do? He's a bald-headed devil. Any other questions?
No,
for
that's all. Thank you.
That'll hold. Thank you. Would you step forward, sir, and state your name, please?
Steve Friedman. Reverend, I'm a little curious about that line you say that you sleep with. How can the two of you, your wife and yourself, be in bed with the lion?
Probably not easy.
Well, the bed is not made for the lion. The lion sleeps next to the bed, at the foot of the bed.
How's that for a watchdog? I thought I had it good with a karate monkey.
Well, doesn't it kind of shake your wife up being so close to the line like that?
No, it's a rather secure feeling. You know, there's never any problem of prowlers or burglars.
Yeah, but they have been known to turn on you, haven't they?
Well, he is chained, so he can only go so far.
Well, listen, our time's all up. I'd like to tell you where to go, but you'd enjoy it.
Oh, that's it.
We'll be back with another guest after these words. Stand by.
And he was on his deathbed. And for a Satanist, at the time of death, it's a great victory for them because death is a huge thing that they celebrate. And he was getting ready to die and pass on his powers and that. And on his deathbed, he must have got some revelation or an angelic appearance or something. And he went into shock and he said, "Oh my. Oh my, what have I done?" He said, "There's something very wrong. There's something very wrong. There's something very wrong."
Wow.
And his whole life had been spent propagating these satanic beliefs, getting everyone to believe, establishing official organizations for Satanism. And then at the end of his life, he gets this light that comes to him. And everything that he'd built, he realized was wrong.
Indiana Jones. Which one is this? First, second, third.
What's the third? Second.
What's the guy?
Choose one.
Matthew 25:41, King James Version. Then shall he say also unto them on the left hand, Depart from me, ye cursed, into everlasting fire, prepared for the devil and his angels. What is hell? For the gate is wide. Enter through it are many. They will be tormented day and night forever and ever. Revelation 20:10. They shall never see the light. The wicked shall not go unpunished. Whole body to be cast into hell. On the wicked he will rain coals of fire and brimstone and a burning wind, a prison for every foul spirit. Cast them down to hell and deliver them into chains of darkness, into the everlasting fire. The beast that ascends out of the bottomless pit, let them go down alive into hell. Hell and destruction are never full. In the world you have tribulation, but take courage, I have overcome the world. John 16:33. Jesus who delivers us from the wrath to come.
It's very easy to be an atheist when you have done all of that. Man can sit back and say, I don't need God. What is God? But it's very difficult to be an atheist when you're laying on your deathbed. Because you begin to think, what if these people are right? See, there'd been one man by the name of Ron Short.
That's the thing. You know, what do you got to lose in believing in God? You know? You got everything to lose not believing in God. You know? Because Nobody knows for sure until, we die. So, you don't want to be like this guy.
That has stood between me and the gates of hell. One man that had witnessed to me about the love of Jesus for 5 years before I became ill. One man. And, I would debate him, and I liked him because he did what he said he was going to do. I mean, he was the only one that I saw that professed to be Christian, that lived what he said he was going to do. And so I really respected him. I didn't believe what he said, but I respected him. But when I'm laying on my deathbed and knowing that I'm going to die, guess who I thought about? I thought about, what if Ron is right? What if there is a heaven and a hell? And so the most immediately, the most pressing thought in my mind is, how do I get saved? What is saved? What is saved? How do I get saved? And so I sent them for Ron Short. I wanted him to come down because I wanted him to do what he had to do. I had no idea. How can a man hanging on a tree in Israel 2,000 years ago, what is that to me? But I knew that he had something that I had to have. And that night, see, I had him go for Ron, but Ron wasn't home. Ron was in Alabama. And so I had him go and send for Ron. And that night was the longest night that I've ever had in my entire life, before or since. And that night is, as I would be laying there in bed, as I'm laying there in bed, I would begin to fade away. I would begin to fade away, and as I would fade away, I would begin to go down. Now, it was like darkness. It was so dark. It was like the very darkness just penetrated into your very, very being. And as I left, and I can tell you I left my body because I remember when I came back into my body. I don't know where I was out of my body. Now, there are people that talk about a light. There are people that talk about floating above. There are people that talk about a feeling of warmth and love. I didn't feel any of that. I felt none of that. I felt untold terror. Untold terror.
Some revelation or an angelic appearance or something. And he went into shock and he said, oh my, what have I done? He said, there's something very wrong. There's something very wrong. There's something very wrong.
Because I knew that if I ever went all the way, if I slipped all the way, I would never get back. Now, in my beings of beings, I knew that. And so I fought all night long. They told me later on, I not only pulled the mattress cover off of the mattress, I pulled the mattress up on me because I had to stay. I had to wait. I had to wait till Ron got there. Whatever he had to do, I had to wait. But I would, again, and then I would leave, and I would be going down like a deep, deep, dark terror. Now, my skin began to get cold. Now, it's not like cold when you walk out into the air. It's like bone chilling cold in my lower extremities. And you can feel the coldness begin to come up the legs. And again, I would begin to leave. Now, and I would be in that darkness, and I'd be in that void. And I remember one time entering back in my body, because when I entered my body, it was like, just like that. I felt my body thud. My physical body thud when I entered back in. Now, believe me, that is the most horrifying, terrifying experience that I've ever encountered. And I fought all night long. And the next morning, somewhere 9:30, 10 o'clock, in came Ron. And Ron came in and he says, Dr. Whittaker, what do they say is your chances? I said, Ron, they tell me I have none. He says, now's the time. And I said, you're right. I mean, I'd cursed him, I'd spit at him, but now was the time because I had to have whatever he had because I had a short period of time on earth and I didn't have any idea when I might make that trip and go all the way.
Hell is a choice. Anton knew it. So do we. Choose well. Choose life. Choose.
You have chosen wisely.
Choose well.
Whether you're
Yeah.
Choose well.
Can I have a excuse? Be
Yes.
excused?
You can be excused. Then we're gonna check out a little bit of talismanic idols. This is something Feline has seen 12 years ago, some shit like that. I don't know what this is, but it's probably going through the Illuminati stuff and something called esoteric agenda. Esoteric agenda. While we're waiting for Feline, let's check out some bookmarks that I got. Okay, we got Stu Peterson here.
The products that he worked on included Google. Zach Voorhees was a senior software engineer at Google for 8.5 years. The products that he worked on included Google Earth and the company's YouTube client for video game consoles. While working on YouTube, Voorhees made a series of very disturbing discoveries. He found that Google was taking internal action to censor fake news. When he looked closer, he learned even more. He found that Google was defining fake news in a way that included genuine, factual, real news, but which Google didn't care for. He also discovered that Google was...
Let's save the esoteric agenda to next time.
No, let's check it out.
No, let's save it.
Well, let's check a little bit. Let's see if it's interesting.
But it's old, you know? This is old. This
Draw.
is one of the first.
There are many people that practice transcendental meditation. What the last clip was about.
Transcendental? Yeah, I think
Yeah,
you
leave the
can,
body.
You
Yeah,
can leave the body.
Of course.
You know? You're doing it every day anyways. When you're dreaming. When you're sleeping.
Yeah.
You're leaving your body. 150,000 billion %. I want to see a little bit of it.
Yeah, let's see a little bit. But I think it's like 15 years old. This is one of the first.
Who gives a fuck? It can be,
All right.
Stuff.
Why are you so against me talking? I'm not going to talk anymore.
Speak.
No.
Speak.
Play.
Absolutely everything the mind can conceive.
Speak.
I want to listen.
You said something. It's
no, I
15
just said.
years old.
No, I just want to say this is one of the first, videos I saw on YouTube that during my awakening. What'd you say?
Yeah, when you first woke up. Which was when?
Draw.
2011.
Yeah,
12?
Vince, shut up.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2000.
He always tells me you need to speak more. But as soon as I speak, he interrupts me.
No, I'm just saying because I thought you were going to let's not watch it.
I was explaining what it was.
What is it then?
I just said. You missed it. You don't even listen. Play it.
Say what you want to say.
I have already said it.
What was it?
Why I need to repeat it?
Yes.
Just wanted to say this is one of the first movies I watched during my awakening, which was 2012.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Okay. Once again?
Yeah. One more time.
Of. There is at least one word or icon or gesture to insinuate everything our five senses can detect and then some. But along with this beautiful gift comes a flaw. Most people are unwilling to seek and create their own interpretations of these symbols. Instead, they blindly submit to preconceived definitions and connotations given by sources unknown. Because of this, many things have been predetermined in our understanding of life without our knowledge.
It's like
Words
his
can be
music score.
perverted and used
He
to
has to have the
manipulate
last
rather than
word.
to inform.
What did you say? It's like his music score. He has to have the last word.
Always, always.
Symbols can be used to segregate rather than unite, and those given the responsibility and authority to disseminate information to the public possess the ability to do with it what they choose.
That was Glenn Beck.
Listen carefully.
it uploaded? No, it's uploaded last year.
This is old.
That's actually on the dollar.
Every 26,000 years, our solar system passes through the 12 zodiac signs.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah?
Huh?
Yeah? Hmm?
What are you go-
No,
what
no,
were
no,
you-
nothing.
You know, 2012, December 21, 2012, the world ended, and we didn't think it did, but it looks like it did. We ended in some way. It did end. You know what I mean?
Every 26,000
Draw.
years, our solar
The all-seeing eye.
system passes through the 12 zodiac signs. Ancient civilizations such
You see the 12 zodiac signs, you know,
Put the volume
on
up
the
a bit.
fixed Earth.
as the Hopi, Egyptians, Cherokee, Apache, and the Mayans were aware of this great cycle and developed calendars according to it. This cycle stems from many different occurrences in nature, such as the sun's orbit around Alcyon, the central star of Pleiades.
I just want to say, maybe he's a flat earther now, but even though he is talking about the solar system and so, this could still be, be applied to the flat earth theory.
Yeah, no.
As well as the 260-day cycle of human gestation. This cycle is broken down into 5 subcycles of 5,125 years each, which were thought to have their own age. The Aztec calendar or Mesoamerican sunstone depicted each cycle being destroyed by one of the 5 elements. The cycle we are currently in is the age of the 5th sun, 3113 BC to 2012 AD. More precisely, this great cycle ends December 21st, 2012.
That was the Maya calendar, right?
Mayan cultures and civilizations were aware of this end date, and Nostradamus even prophesied about it.
Was that the end of the Pisces era?
I think so.
For Earth, which we are currently in now, is also known as the movement, shift, evolution, and consciousness. Living Maya timekeepers proclaim that the Earth has been through fire, earth, air, and water. The final element is ether, or center. The Hopi believe that the 4th world of destruction closes and the 5th world of peace begins on December 21st, 2012. The great cycle is broken down into what the Mayans believe to be 13 Bactans.
So wait. When this documentary was made, it was around 2012.
I think it was 2012.
So okay.
Earth began its 13th Bactan.
Yeah, because this was new when I saw it. It was like new.
That's interesting.
1618, which was known as the triumph of materialism, as well as the time of great forgetting, in the prediction that humanity will lose the awareness of their true bond with nature by means of external possessions. This is where ego and domination became the predominant ambition of the civilized world. Not surprisingly, this time frame was precisely when the worldwide coordination of Pope Gregory XIII forced the 12-month calendar as well as the first mechanical clock onto indigenous peoples. This is what's known as the error in time. Before the inception of the 2 instruments by the Roman Catholic Church, each year was divided into 13 moon cycles with 28 days each.
I forgot all about this.
13?
The most detrimental part of these 2 instruments is the insinuation that time was something external, something inorganic.
Exactly. I don't know. Have we talked about this? The clock. How the clock has become like our most imprisonment symbol. What is the time? What is the time? Always
we ask
knowing.
it every day, don't we?
Yeah, and we this thing runs our life. I set the time to go up to work. What is the time you're gonna pick me up? What is the time when we're gonna do a stream? What is the time? What is the time when we're gonna eat?
When's the time to sleep?
Before you just looked up the sky, you saw the sun, like, oh shit, it will be dark soon, so let's get some supper ready. Or whatever.
You were just living.
Yeah. Or you woke up because of the sun rising, the light. Or
so you were visual back then. That was how you determined stuff.
But this motherfucker, I think this is one of devil's work, because this also capture time. That is why we cannot imagine eternity, because this is time. This runs our life.
Yeah, but to play the devil's advocate, it actually has to, it has its benefits, because...
Right now, but no, we could definitely live without the clock, of course.
Yeah, but if you want to, meet up with somebody if we don't have something to refer to.
But people met up before.
Yeah, but how are you gonna say, hey, when the you know what I mean?
They did.
Yeah, but it's hard in this world to do that.
Why?
If we don't follow this shit, how are we gonna understand when we're gonna meet?
Absolutely, but this world is the devil.
But I see what you're saying. Yeah, but yeah.
I see this as a crucifix, as a symbol of the devil. Control.
But at the same time, though, the astrology thing is a clock too, isn't it?
It's different, yeah, but so is the sun.
Yeah.
I said people measure time with the sun before.
Yeah.
But this is, by the fucking second.
This exact. Okay.
And outside the body that we must watch and obey. The 7th century Mayan prophet Pacalvatan left a powerful message for future generations of evolution. If humanity wishes to save itself from biospheric destruction, it must return to living in natural time.
Interesting.
Definitely true.
And we are going towards a destruction.
Yeah, we are.
Especially with the AI thing. That shit is going to take over, man.
Time is still measured by the sun.
Yeah, I know, but, before you actually needed to go outside, look and see, and have a bit of a guess, You couldn't say, be there in 10 minutes. I get it. But the clock, the phenomenon, the mechanicism of the clock, that is destroying our life. The stress. The stress. Oh, it's only 5 minutes until
You're late.
The stream is 5 minutes. Hurry up.
Late.
It's
yeah. So AI is gonna destroy humanity, that's for sure.
He also foretold of our accelerated technological society and of the damage of our collective divergence from natural law in exchange for material values. Astrology and the studies of the heavens are as old as civilization. Throughout the past several thousand years, new religions have all but replaced the pagan religions of prior years. Man has been so thoroughly fascinated with these objects in the sky that they formed constellations.
Yes, I know what you mean. The clock was the industrial use of time.
Exactly.
From them and applied stories to them. In Greek
By the way, Drop, did you know that they say, even in mainstream media, not mainstream media, mainstream science, that the stars produce oxygen and carbon?
All right, you told me today.
Yeah, I saw that by accident. So, those things are producing oxygen and carbon.
mythology, these were personified as the gods. We notice in the structures that still stand to this day that the most ancient of civilizations put forth more wealth, power, time, and effort into the locations of the stars than any other practice. This is commonly written off as simple curiosity. But the truth is becoming clear by the day as we close in on the 0 year of December 21st, 2012. It is a common misconception that the pagan religion is rarely practiced today. In fact, paganism in its evolution is the most widely practiced form of religion.
Isn't that ball?
Yeah.
You may ask yourself how this is possible. The answer is hidden in nearly all of our current popular religions. But who would have the power and the desire to integrate a seemingly long-gone religion?
When elements break down, they produce byproducts
Into such popular opposite denominations.
Origins of the order.
Dr. Adam Weishaupt was born on February 6, 1748 in Ingolstadt in a city in Bayern, or Bavaria, Germany. This interesting character was the son of a rabbi and converted to Catholicism after his father's death. After studying French philosophers such as Voltaire, he supposedly learned the teachings of Satanism in the French royal court.
All comes back to Satanism.
World-famous central banker Mayer Amschel Rothschild of the Rothschild dynasty chose Weishaupt to create the Coven of Golden Dawn, which to this day is Rothschild's private coven. Amschel Rothschild, for those who are unaware, instigated the American Revolution, America's supposed liberation from Britain. Rothschild instructed Weishaupt to create the ancient illuminated seers of Bavaria. This is better known as the Order of the Illuminati. The name in Luciferian teachings means the bearer of the light, the illuminated, or the enlightened one. The Areopagite, or tribunal, was the inner circle of the Supreme Order, and were the only ones privy to secret meetings. In Nesta Webster's book, The World Revolution, she states, "The art of Illuminism lay in enlisting dupes as well as adepts, and by encouraging dreams of honest visionaries or the schemes of fanatics, by flattering the vanity of ambitious egotists, by working on unbalanced brains, or by playing such passions as greed and power to make men of totally divergent aims serve the secret purpose of the sect. People with money were welcomed but kept oblivious to actual secrets. The purpose is to win power and riches, to undermine secular or religious government, and obtain the masters of the world."
And then those with money that entered this shit, they create Epstein things with them so that they lock them in. You know, that's probably how they won the majority of the people.
Absolutely,
they lured them in and then set up traps or whatever, and then they blackmail them. They can't do anything about it. Now they have to go along.
The goal of the order was and still is to one day deliver the human race from all religion. Progression through the political and religious hierarchy was obtained by blackmail in the form of bribing people in power with sex from local prostitutes.
There you go.
In the 16th and 17th century, high-ranking officials in political or religious organizations were liable to be sentenced to death for such acts. In 1780, Baron Franz Friedrich Knigge was recruited. He was the most instrumental person in the marriage of the Masons and the Illuminati. This allowed the Illuminati to expand rapidly with the use of Masonic lodges. On August 29, 1781, Congress of Wilhelmsbad declared the alliance official. Those in attendance were put under oath, never to reveal what took place in that meeting. Comte de Virieu, a Mason from Martinez de Lodge at Lyons, was questioned about the meeting upon his arrival home. He stated, "I can only tell you that all this is much more serious than you think. The conspiracy which is being woven is so well thought out that it will be, so to speak, impossible for the monarchy and the church to escape it." He later denounced the Illuminati. Sir John Dee. John Dee was a servant to Queen Elizabeth Tudor of the Tudor dynasty. John Dee was the head of the British Secret Service, the MI5. He was also known for the practice of black magic and his affiliation with the occult. If this is your first time hearing about the occult or are unaware of its dominance in the world to this day, pay close attention. Pagan symbols, gods, rituals, and doctrines are the basis for most every religion practiced throughout the world. The Christian or Catholic symbols of the cross derive from the solstice and the equinox division lines on a zodiac calendar. The word heaven is in reference to what pagan religions referred to as the heavens, or galactic bodies. And the crossing of the age of Pisces into Aquarius is actually in reference to constellations, which interestingly enough occur at the exact same time as the great cycle prophesied by the Maya, as well as many other cultures.
And that would explain why the Mayans could predict something like this, because it's fixed. The shit is fixed in some way.
As said before,
there is no space, man.
Pantheistic rituals are prevalent in all monotheistic religions today. Circumcision is a pagan ritual, marking males in a ceremonial fashion. Weddings are pagan by nature in the wearing of a ring, which symbolizes the ring of...
So I'm circumcised.
Yeah.
So I'm marked.
Yep.
What does that make me? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Saturn. Funerals follow the same pagan-derived ritual when a sacred geometrical tomb is placed over a grave to embody and immortalize the spirit. Baptism is a ritual to submerge a child in holy water to symbolize the renewal of life, just as rain replenishes the earth. The Holy Grail filled with wine is a representation of the blood that comes from the birth canal during menstruation, not the blood of Christ. This ritual was taken over by the patriarchal society. Males could not give life as women do, so to symbolize a male giving life was to draw blood, which could only be done by injury. In ancient Egypt, the goddess Isis was the personification of wisdom. Pharaoh Akhenaten changed the warship to himself as he proclaimed himself Amun-Re, the sun god. The word Amen at the end of a prayer spawned from the praise given to Amun-Re. From there, the Hebrews left Egypt and traveled north into the Middle East, where they encountered the Canaanites, who worshipped the god of Saturn, El. The merging of these three gods became the name of the land today, which is known as Isis, Re-El, or Israel. 98% of Judaism is based around the worship of Saturn. And the sacred day of worship is Saturday. The worship practice on Sunday is originated from the Egyptians who worshipped the sun god. Most people simply pass these things off and never question their origins, but this just scratches the surface of the pagan
And Monday is Moon Day, right?
influence over the present day. It is not just found in religions, it is found right here in our own backyard.
So Sunday and Moon Day. They're next to each other. Sunday, Moon Day. Sunday, Moon Day.
And Saturday, I think in the English word Saturday, I don't know what, because Saturday is Shabbat in Hebrew, their free day. But in Swedish, lördag comes from a word that means to wash. That you needed, you cleaned yourself on Saturday to be fresh on the sun's day, on Sunday.
On January 22nd, 1783, Congress ratified a contract stating that all bills of credit emitted, monies borrowed, and debts contracted by or under the authority of Congress before the assembling of the United States in pursuance of the present Confederation shall be deemed and considered a charge against the United States for payment and satisfaction whereof the United States and the public faith are hereby solemnly pledged. The party that the U.S. owed these loans to? King George. I hope this paints a picture for you of how Great Britain funded both sides of the Revolution. To this day, Great Britain collects taxes from the United States via the IRS. The IRS isn't even an agency of the United States government. If you don't believe me, look up IRS publication 6209. The FCC, CIA, FBI, and NASA were never part of the United States government. The US government only holds shares of the stock in various agencies. Social security numbers are also issued by the UN through the IMF. The Civil War, which lasted from 1861 to 1865, was also instigated by Amschel Rothschild to divide the United States and force it into debt with a central bank. The goal was to put the country of the US back into the hands of Britain through huge loans taken out for munitions. To do this, it was crucial to put a controversial issue in limbo such as slavery. Knowing full well that the Declaration of Independence would create an uproar among southern states that depended heavily upon slave labor, it was signed in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania by 35 people, 33 of whom were Freemasons. John Brown was a Mason and Rosicrucian who was brought to power by William Lloyd Garrison and Senator Charles Sumner, both descendants of the Illuminati bloodline. With the help of the New York Times, John Brown was built up to be a hero in the anti-slavery movement.
Even then, they were,
Ulysses S. Grant, former president, was born Hiram S. Grant. This name was given to him by his father, Master Mason Jesse Root Grant. Jesse Root Grant worked for John Brown's father and then went on to work for E.A. Collins,
He looks like Eddie Brock.
one of the 13 Illuminati bloodlines. Ulysses S. Grant was brought to power rapidly with help from Collins. From April 1861 to May 1864, Grant went from the rank of private to commander-in-chief of the entire Union Army. Once Grant was appointed president, his cabinet consisted of 8 Freemasons, including Alphonso Taft, which was William Taft's father, who was also an ancestor of Bill Clinton. Jonas Mills Bundy was one of the 13 Illuminati bloodlines, who was also the presidential advisor to Grant as well as the next 2 presidents. And cabinet member Columbus Delano was Franklin Delano Roosevelt's grandfather. In November 21, 1933, President Franklin Roosevelt wrote, "The real truth of the matter is, as you and I know, that a financial element in the large centers has owned the government ever since the days of Andrew Jackson." Abraham Lincoln's father was A.A. Springs, who was part of the Rothschild dynasty. Lincoln's half-brother worked for Louis Caspar-Zur in the Merovingian dynasty, which was the 13th Illuminati bloodline. Pasteur also owned Jekyll Island, which was where the Federal Reserve Bank was created. In the mid-1800s, Abraham Lincoln and the Whigs were trying desperately to keep Andrew Jackson from establishing a gold standard called the Independent
like
Treasury
Etsy.
System.
Didn't it?
Lincoln and his party fought to set up a central bank, making such public speeches as, under a gold and silver standard, all will suffer more or less, and very many will lose everything that renders life desirable. This statement resounds elements of scare tactics in this speech and other speeches on the matter.
These people that they're mentioning here, what is the difference between these people and the people that is getting, used and controlled? Like, what is the difference between them?
But aren't they also being used and controlled by something higher than them?
But I'm talking about these people that are scheming and doing these things. They're thinking, right?
Yeah.
They're thinking more than the regular people.
Yeah, because the people that get used, they do it for like money, sex, whatever. But they have actually figured out a way to.
It's still the same group.
Yeah, but what I'm asking is, what's the difference between these people, the schemers, and the population?
No, they're smart as fuck.
And the population is not thinking in these ways. Yeah, and these people are playing with the population.
Playing and also planning like far.
Yeah. And they're playing it out like, okay, if we do this, their reaction will be that. And that's good because we want that reaction, because then we can introduce this thing that will take us over there. And when we get over there, they will be reacting that way. And then we got two ways to do it, because if they react that way, we can do this thing. But if they react that way, we can introduce that thing. Both of those things will take us to our... Yeah. Both of those things will take us to this place. And and ultimately, they're all chained over here. Like... You know what I mean? Like they're actually planning this shit like on a board, While the regular people, they're just living their lives. Like, what are we gonna eat today? Like, and that would explain why they don't want the population to think.
Absolutely.
That's why.
And that's why we have more and more distractions.
Yes.
Given by Abraham Lincoln. They give no real evidence or explanation. In the early 1900s, after a failed attempt for Woodrow Wilson to set up what was called the League of Nations following World War I, Wilson and his advisor, Colonel House, set up the Institute of International Affairs. This institute had two branches. One set up in England called the Royal Institute of International Affairs, and the Council on Foreign Relations was incorporated as the American branch in New York on July 29th, 1921. Founding members include Colonel House, J.P. Morgan.
That's why you have chlorine and fluoride in the water.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And God knows what else now. Exactly. You know what I mean? We don't know.
John D. Rockefeller, and a few others. A national income tax was declared unconstitutional in 1895 by the Supreme Court, but a constitutional amendment was proposed in Congress by Senator Nelson Aldrich. This makes much more sense when you notice that Nelson Aldrich was also known as being the authentic voice of J.P. Morgan and later married into the Rockefeller family. Today, 27 to 35% of American workers' pay is taxed, and this money goes to a central bank called the Federal Reserve, or the Fed. For those of you who are unaware of the Federal Reserve Bank and...
Like, what is it? Like government? Everybody pays taxes because, they think, the government is responsible for the roads, right? The roads. What else? The school system.
Well,
you don't need that today.
What
else?
Here in Sweden we say, I'm not defending anything. You have the roads, you have the hospital. We don't pay anything for the hospitals from our pockets, the taxes, school, immigration, everything. But I don't really know what taxes go to in America, in the U.S. I don't know.
Yeah, but let's say, the roads, the schools, which you don't need anymore. The schools are garbage. The cops, the military.
Oh, yeah, cops, military, of course.
And what else,
Ukraine.
Yeah, of course, yes. But,
The jab.
The jab. But it's like, why can't we just keep the taxes? And let's have a thing where we have to pay for the roads. We can do that. Everybody chimes in for the roads. Like how much you need, road people.
I used to say this, instead of having election on any party like here in Sweden. Let me choose where to put my tax money instead. Where do people actually want their money to go?
Yeah.
I'm fine with paying some tax tribute to the country that I'm living in for it to function, but I want to know where it goes.
Yeah.
And what it is capable of, it is a non-government owned bank that provides the U.S. with all of its currency. They control the inflation rate by the amount of money in circulation. Yet the most amazing aspect of the central bank is the suspension of specie payments, in which the Fed can refuse to pay their obligations, yet taxpayers must pay their debts or go bankrupt. In other words, the suspension of specie payments is the central bank's right to breach a contract with no penalty whatsoever. In even simpler terms, it's called theft. How is it that the Fed is allowed to breach any contract they wish without penalty from the government? The answer is simple. The Federal Reserve Bank has power over the government instead of under it. Carroll Quigley, Bill Clinton's mentor while at Georgetown University, wrote of central banks, "They want nothing less than to create a world system of financial control in private hands, able to dominate the political system of each country and the economy of the world as a whole, controlled in a feudalist fashion by the central banks of the world acting in concert, by secret agreements arrived at in frequent private meetings and conferences." It is important to note that nearly all of the founders of the Federal Reserve Bank were involved in the conception of the Council on Foreign Relations. Since 1934, when the Fed was established, almost every United States Secretary of State, all Secretaries of War or Defense since Henry L. Stimson, almost every head of CIA since Allen Dulles, nearly all presidential candidates, Dwight D. Eisenhower, JFK, Richard Nixon, and Bill Clinton were members of the CFR. George Bush Sr. was actually the CFR director from 1977 to 1979. Understand that all of these high-ranking government positions were lobbied into place by the organization set up by the international banking cartel. There are secret meetings held everywhere by many of the same members in the Trilateral Commission, the Bilderberg Group, the Club of Rome, the United Nations, and the two branches of the Institute of International Affairs. These groups make up what is known as the Round Table, developed by Cecil Rhodes. Other offshoots or preliminary groups are the Bohemian Group and Yale University's Skull and Bones organization, which we all know George W. Bush, George Bush Sr., and John Kerry were all a part of. Most every meeting by these groups are attended by the most powerful government officials, corporate leaders, media moguls, and royal families in the world. These meetings are held in secret and not a word of them reaches the mainstream media. How is it that so many powerful people can attend meetings alongside the mainstream media and not a mention of it makes it to the public? This all may start making more sense when you start understanding that common citizens aren't meant to know what is happening at the top. Is there any dispute that to gain power in our day and age, it takes strategy and intelligence rather than brute force? Logic will tell you that in any sport or game, to claim victory, you must keep your moves strategic and secret.
Even in one-to-one combat, like UFC, they're strategic. You hear the fighters talk about
it. It doesn't matter how strong you are. You could just see it in Ngannou. Yeah, okay, he knocked out a few people.
Francis Ngannou.
But when he started to meet people that were tactical and know their shit.
Why would it be any different in global politics?
If I bring up chess master up here and ask him, what are the principles by which I can become a master of the game of chess, he'll say these four things. He'll say that you need a sense of patience. Now, if you don't have patience, don't even try to begin the game to learn it. He'll say you need a sense of timing. If you don't have a sense of timing, don't open the book. You have to have knowledge of your opponent, right? And then the fourth one that they'll tell you is that you need to have the willingness to make any and all sacrifices.
Yeah.
Wait. Timing in chess, like what? Like when you do the move?
No, timing when to move the pieces in the game, not time clock.
I know. The timing of when you make your move.
Yeah, exactly.
But for what? To distract? Like, if you do it in the wrong timing, he might actually figure out your planning.
Maybe, yeah.
Because I remember back in the days when I played chess.
Draw. Hand to make the move.
When to make the move.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because I remember when playing with somebody, you would, like, if you figure out something, like, oh shit, now I can see now how to take his queen. But, and he hasn't noticed yet. So, sometimes you would try to distract, like, so, you know, what's happening tomorrow? And then you move something else or something.
But the thing with real chess players is that they don't distract by talking. You never see real chess player talk. They distract by making the distractional move, of course.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, ladies and gentlemen.
Draw. That's why you plan at least 3 moves ahead.
Yeah, at least. At least.
Why are the dark side winning the game? It's because they've got infinite patience. They've been working on one thing for 50,000 years. I call that patience. They got a brilliant sense of timing because they know all about the astrology and the divination that we've forgotten.
Exactly.
Wait, he's mentioning astrology.
Draw. And yes, I play chess.
Oh, you do?
Ah, you do.
Interesting.
Maybe you two should take a game.
Yeah, I don't think I'm that good, but hey, listen.
Of course, you need to practice.
He mentioned astrology.
Yeah.
With chess.
No, he's talking about how far away they're planning and their knowledge. He's just comparing it.
Sense of timing because they know all about the astrology and the divination that we've forgotten. That our agricultural ancestors all knew about. Well, we're with the Julian calendar and we're not interested in any of that stuff anymore. We're slaves of the watch.
Exactly.
But we
good, you get a point there.
Don't know about the higher time to rule our own lives by.
Yeah.
They have amazing knowledge of you.
And now
right? They have intense knowledge of us, their enemies. And the fourth one is the clinch.
And we don't know shit about
them. Take it back, because I don't want to miss what he said.
To rule our own lives by. They have amazing knowledge of you. Right? They have intense knowledge of us, their enemies. And the fourth one is the clincher, isn't it? Because they're willing to make any and all sacrifices when and wherever they need to do it.
Yeah. True.
But Adolf, that would break our treaty. You're a good guy. Why, you hate war. You wouldn't go back on your word.
Are you kidding?
One of the penalties for refusing to participate in politics is that you end up being governed by your inferiors. Plato.
George W. Bush is a direct descendant of Godfrey de Bouillon. The Bouillons were servants of Pope Gregory VII and led the European noblemen into the crusade in order to recapture Jerusalem from the Islamic faith. He became the first king of Jerusalem and Duke of Lower Lorraine, which was known as a major region for the bloodline linked to the Illuminati. Bush is closely related to every European monarch. He is the 13th cousin of Queen Elizabeth and Prince Charles. He also has kinship with every member of the British royal family, the House of Windsor. The House of Windsor is known for abandoning their German names after World War I due to criticism of the people. A lesser-known fact about the House of Windsor, however, is the heavy funding contribution to bring Adolf Hitler to power in the rise of World War II. The swastika is actually a symbol of the sun, referencing to the sun order of the occult. The word Nazi is actually Nazi, one of the Anunnaki children of Mother Goddess Ninharsag in the Sumerian texts. And even the word Holocaust is actually Yiddish for burn sacrifice offering. Heinrich Himmler was the commander of the SS and one of the most powerful men in Nazi Germany. Himmler was a seventh-ray occultist and was very influenced by the book Astara by George Luns, who was an Austrian mystic. This occult book mapped out the plan for a cleansing of ethnicities and bringing about one race, and to revive the ancient tradition of the Knights Templar of the Middle Ages. The Knights Templar were a group largely killed off by the French monarchy. The remaining Templar created many Masonic orders and secret societies throughout Europe, from which the Illuminati is believed to have originated. It's important to note as well that the Bush family's ancestor, Godfrey de Bouillon, was a Holy Templar himself. To this day, every single United States president, with no exception, has a direct bloodline relation to British monarchs. And on December 20th, 1993, George Herbert Walker Bush was knighted by the Queen of England as a Knight Grand Cross of the Most Honorable Order of the Bath for his leadership in the Gulf War. Does it strike you as odd that our president, our leader, kneeled before the Queen of England in a ceremony that symbolizes allegiance? So what does this all mean? It simply means that throughout every major civilization, political power has remained in a select few bloodlines, and it is desperately held in the same manner today. It is openly admitted to the public that major leaders worldwide are part of secret fraternal
Maybe that
orders
is
or
why
secret
they are
meetings.
so desperate to get rid of Trump.
But what
because
is
he is not the bloodline. He's breaking, not only is he trying to, make changes in the country and in the world that they don't want, he's not in the bloodline. Could it be? Because for us, it's like, oh, who gives a shit? But for them, it's like, deadly serious. You don't break the bloodline.
Not disclosed to the public is the purpose of these meetings. So let me spell this out for you. The major leaders from around the world are part of a united effort to remain in power forever. To do so, the people are lured into the trap of perpetual debt, making it impossible to be repaid by the people. So in turn, all property and assets will be repossessed by the debtor. For those of you who are unaware what it means when a government owns everything of yours, it's called socialism. All of this is part of an ultimate goal of the mystery religions. The mystery religion is the paganism we've been talking about all along. But the pagan religions known to the public today are nowhere near as involved as the mystery religion. It is much less confusing than you think. Try to imagine this practice as less of a religion and more of an ambition. The ambition is to reach enlightenment. There is no superhuman intelligence or fantasy involved in this. The gifts of God are very simple. Omnipresence. The power of
like a
one
star.
being or consciousness to be everywhere at once. Omniscience. The power of knowing everything that can be known. And omnipotence. To have unlimited power. We see all of this today. It cannot be denied. If you still don't believe that the mystery religion is present today, just look around you. There are literally thousands of statues and emblems of ancient religions on every political establishment. Even on military uniforms, these symbols are found everywhere, but not only in our country. The same emblems are found on every nation's military uniform. And why would this be? Because a life taken at a chosen time, place, and a specific manner, it becomes a sacrifice. And to further illustrate this point, on March 20th, 2003, President Bush launched a bombing of Baghdad at 5:50 Baghdad time. This lasted into March 21st. It was called and awe by the mainstream media, but according to the mystery religion, this date is known as the Eve of Ostara, more commonly known as the spring or vernal equinox. Occultists worship the goddess of the earth, Gaia, on this day. The Druids knew this date as the spring fertility rite, the day of feast. The war was promptly ended on May 1st, 2003. This date is known in the Druidic calendar as Beltane, or Walpurgis Night. It was named after Saint Walpurga, who was the pagan goddess of fertility. From March 20th to May 1st, the pagan ritual is to give blood to the earth and renew life to the goddess of fertility. What better time frame to declare a bloody war on the days of a ritual sacrifice and end it exactly when the pagan ritual ends? The parallels are uncanny. These are all facts written in many different sources around the world
and that's why probably they want to confuse you of what the stars are.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a bunch of stars.
Yeah, it has no meaning at all. Nothing at all. It's just
a bunch of lights.
Yeah.
Nothing. They've already died off.
Yeah, they're dead already.
You're just seeing
the reflection.
Yeah,
they don't
they're
even
already
exist.
gone.
Yeah.
Yes, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
a big con, man.
are available to anyone to discover. Connecting the dots is up to you, but make your own decisions instead of settling for conclusions that others have put in place before you.
Now that warm. Howard Stern.
The right answers are what you decide are the right answers. Maybe everything I'm telling you is wrong. I mean, I could tell you what I think happens to be more or less right, but there isn't any reason why you should pay any attention to it.
What do you say? Maybe we'll finish up this another time.
Yeah, this was interesting.
Yeah, this is really good. I remember it was good. I was hooked. I think I saw it 10 times, but many years ago. Yeah, I like it.
Absolutely.
I think he does I think he does a good job also.
Yeah, and I also like that it's pretty old, like 12 years or something, whatever, because now we've seen a bunch of things getting unraveled,
Yeah.
Back then.
And also, and also things are starting to make more sense now.
Yeah.
Like I said, maybe with Trump, he is so hated by them. It's like baffling. You're thinking, what's going on? It's just the it's the bloodline. He's breaking it. That's why it's so serious, I think.
Yeah, but like now we know that there is a world government plan. It's out in the open, Like when this documentary was made, there was probably a lot of people who was still like, yeah, we don't know.
Yeah, because here he also felt, obligated to explain like the Illuminati. People don't explain it anymore. Everyone knows what it is. They're called.
That's
black
why
magic.
it's interesting to watch this, because it's like from the past, but now you actually have a lot of it confirmed in this reality. My nose is too big, man. I got a big nose. Yeah, all right. We will continue that another time.
Yeah, we will. Good. Nice.
See you in the next stream, people. Peace out.